You have your open enrollment. Cool, thank you. And you have to listen and take information. And this is your class, so we'll move everything back to you. But the biggest goal about technology, if you're new, you should know this. Technology, this screen in front of you, whether it's your one in your hand or the one you're looking at presently, or a tablet, or even a TV set, the old TV lying around somewhere, is meant to make things feel urgent. And so
what do you mean the old TV? The old TVs can do this?
Any screen you're looking at that's one dimensional, Robert, you know, you're looking at a screen and you see images, but you can't shake their hand, you know, it's just, they're meant to tell a story in a small screen. And that's why often anxiety can rise when something goes wrong. Because that screen's supposed to deliver you a beginning, a middle, and an end to a story, like an episode of I Love Lucy. But it's not that way with your computer, your phone, your tablet, and the internet. It's ongoing and ongoing. So whatever occurs, if you get any pop-ups, and we'll talk more about this, anything that causes any anxiety whatsoever, step number one is to take a step back and think about what's occurring on your screen, on your phone, anything that's coming into your house, one-dimensional, has any of these devices. 9 out of 10 times, it will resolve itself. In the off time that you are in some trouble, that little break will help give you some perspective. It's that urgency to fix it right now, to say yes, to resolve this, that often can get people down the road and in trouble with scams and other things like that, as well as just broken computers. So that's my biggest lesson after 28 years of doing this, is this machine should be a slow downer machine and not a speed upper. It's supposed to make your life easier. The goal of this is to be able to maybe make a bank deposit or pay your bill or Zoom with family and friends. That's the goal of this machine. So we're going to do a few things to help you along the way over here. Let's start with I'm going to share our meeting itinerary. And we've had a meeting. Oh, another note. You can mute yourself if you want. It's not, you don't have to, because in this class, you can go into the chat, say, hey, stop, I have a question. You could shout out, I need some help. There are many ways to get, our attention, but if it's loud in the background and there's something going on, you might want to mute yourself. So let's open up our itinerary of the day. We've been working on a class project all year. All right, here we go. Do you see our itinerary, folks?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's welcome everybody. So number one, bravo to you. You're retired and you're still learning. And it's a middle of the day, Wednesday, wherever you are, and here you are in class. So good for you. The other point is, if you're here, Robert, for the first time, is I'm going to put our shop phone number and our email in the chat. I'll even say it out loud. And that means in between class.
Can I say something?
Excuse me, sir?
Can I say something right now?
Please.
Okay. I had to buy this computer when I retired because my phone it wouldn't jive, and I've been learning. And my brother's a tech, and they have to tell me every time. Well, and I was pushing too many buttons, so that's probably one thing you should stop pushing buttons until you realize what's going on. Like you say, step back.
Step back, slow down. What do the kids say? Slow the roll. You know what I mean? Like, don't make the brain tells you to do this right away. Oh, that might be the answer. But until you're comfortable with it, like any job or any machine you've ever operated, literally from the bread slicer to the, to the light.
When all else fails, call your grandson or something to fix it for you.
Good luck. Good luck.
I'm just saying.
Let's go. Yeah, it's always good. If you can find the family tech, be very kind. Give them a nice holiday present coming up. Christmas, a little extra for Christmas this year. But if you don't, you have mom's computer, 800 number, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we do talk to a lot of you, and that's the blessing of our week. Let's continue to share our agenda. So first one I'm going to talk about is let's build a website. We have spent the last year putting together a group password saver. It doesn't mean we're all going to share our passwords with each other. Wouldn't that be interesting? This means everybody will be able to download and save an easy to put together list that we have put together through suggestions and thoughts for just about every month, how we're going to save it, where we're going to save it. And October. So we are 2 months away from inauguration. So we'll talk about the password saver list because we've done a lot of work and it's looking pretty good. Next one up our list is, what is AI? What is Google AI to be to be more focused and specific, you've heard the word artificial intelligence. It's sort of everywhere. What exactly is it? How will it help you? Or how could you stay away from it? We'll talk about using public Wi-Fi. It's the holidays. If you're visiting friends and family, you're doing some traveling and you're connected to a network in an airport or a hotel or even someone else's house. We'll talk about good, safe ways to manage that, and even maybe how to remove that network from your phone if you're never going to use it again. Then the famous, you're sending a picture from your Thanksgiving dinner and it says file too large. You can't get the picture sent. You've tried 100 times. How you can send that. That technology has really changed through Google. Do some scam busters and some tips on how to stay safe. The holiday seasons are hot with scams, especially holiday shopping scams. You could type in Starbucks gift card and the first 10 choices are fake Starbucks gift cards. So how to keep smart. And of course, something basic, keep your tech clean. What's the best way to keep your phone and your tablet and the keyboard on your computer clean? Imagine that you're just touching it, you're running around, we're busy people, putting the keys down, driving the car, eating lunch, typing away. So let's see how safely keep that clean without reducing the sheen, without breaking the computer down. We'll talk about some telemedicine, and then we will have our tech trivia. Robert, at the end of every class, we have some tech trivia related to what we're talking about for prizes. So before we begin, who here is an Apple user? Raise your hands, be proud, put it up there. The Apple users are pretty good about that. They're pretty proud. Hey, did you Apple users know there is a fabulous new operating system out there for your computers? So in Apple world, just like Windows world, but Apple world makes it famous, they have these new operating systems that come out every 3 or 4 years. Think of it as repainting your living room. The living room stays the same. The door is always where the door is. The fireplace is always where the fireplace is. The light switch remains where the light switch is, but you paint it and you do different colors and you enhance the room. Apple's newest one is called Sonoma. They were in Ventura for 3 years previously. It was nice to know that Apple thinks of us down here a little closer to Southern California. They were in Ventura County. They called it Apple Ventura, but they've moved back up north. They've dumped us once again, kicked to the curb by Apple of Cupertino. We are now down here, but it's called Sonoma, and I've enjoyed it so far. Most computers can be updated. Also, if you're an Apple iPhone user, if they release an operating system update for the computer, often there's an accompanying one for the iPhone. So you should check your iPhone, and not right in class. We can talk about how to do it. And this is being recorded, by the way. You can check your phone in settings, general, and then software update. And of course, my thought is when it's time to update, I do my updates at night. End of day, I plug my phone in, I go to that update button. Oh, that's okay. It's okay. I'd rather have you here. And what I do is I make sure it's next to bed and I plug it in because could take 20 minutes to an hour, 30 minutes, depending. And here's another little trick. I do it in the evening because less people are on the phone and using Wi-Fi, so it's a little faster. Right now in the middle of the day, it's hot. We're all on the highway together. It's like the 405 right now. The internet is the 405 on a Friday at 5:02. That's what the traffic is in the background over here. So Apple people, you have some updates. Now, who's an Android user or a Windows user? Me too. All right, I like that. I like our tribe as well. I've got some hands going up here. Very good. Windows always has updates in the background. They're not as dramatic as Apple. Apple's beautiful. They're animated and they're, it's a fun company. Windows is a little simpler. They're at Windows 11. Between Windows 11 and the next one, Windows 12, or we'll call it Windows 12.5, there'll be mini updates along the way. So it would be good to check your phone, whether it's an Android or your Windows computer, under, again, settings, software update. And we have a hand up, Robert. Oh, Robert, you're muted. Feel free to unmute yourself, sir. Let me help you. I can help you do that. Ask to unmute. Do you see a button, Robert, that says, I'm asking you to?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it.
Okay. I have both Android phones and I have a Chromebook, and I hooked them both together So I guess that messed me up every once in a while. You
No,
know,
honestly, that's a great thing. So Robert's talking about the third, I should start talking about the third system, because when we started this class many years ago, actually,
that's when I did it. Yeah.
Zoom, there was no such thing as a Chromebook. So there was Apple and then Windows. So what a Chromebook is who uses the Google Chrome browser, opens the Google Chrome browser, and they have all the apps in there. The Google Docs and YouTube and Google. Well, imagine a computer that's only, you open it up and you just get Chrome in there, and you're using the entire Google world only with Chrome. You really can't put other things on a Chromebook like you can a Windows computer. But as we all know, Chrome is a really great platform. I live on it. So it's a computer that runs Chrome. Now, Robert did the right thing. Just like an iPhone attaches to a MacBook, an iMac, an Android attaches to a Chromebook, because Androids use Google's systems. So your contacts are saved in Google when you use an Android, your photos, your maps, everything talks to Google. So that's a good system. But in either one, there are updates to do. And I always suggest thinking about it. Now, in the off chance you go to your system settings in your Windows computer or your Mac computer, and you click that update and it says up to date, nothing's available, but there's a new one out there. What that could mean is that computer is at the end of its update life. That doesn't mean it's use life. We're not selling computers here. It just means it's at the end of its update life. So, there was a point my car wasn't made anymore. I still drove it for 10 years. Well, right. So there'll still be updates for it, but that is a note for you as an owner. It's like on your big appliance, when you buy the refrigerator and you get the 5-year warranty and it runs out and you just pray the fridge doesn't break down for the next 5 years. It's sort of in that zone. So it's good for you to know and be aware of. But if you can update your computer, let's update it. Crystal, please.
Elijah, we're still looking at each other on the screen.
Yeah, because I'm not ready yet. I'm going to show you something very important. Yeah. I'm getting ready for the big show here. Did you like your reflection back? So, any questions on updating your devices, or even why you want to update? It's working fine. I get those customers. It's working fine. Why should I update it? Please, Robert, go ahead and please unmute yourself. And let me help you. I can help you along. Robert's learning. It's good. Look for that unmute button, Robert, on the bottom left of your Zoom screen.
Okay, so I understand what you're talking about. I couldn't get to the update, and I was asking you, did you have a Saturn? That one went out and it was a good car.
Oh, I love my Saturn. I remember when I thought I was in a club. I remember the doors were bounceable. You could push them in. They didn't dent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me tell you how good my memory is, Robert. I remember the commercial. Welcome to Saturn, built in Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Yeah. And I had to wait to get a 6-cylinder because they was only making 4 cylinders at the time.
Yeah, things change. All right. Any questions about passwords before we move on to our project, our group password saver list?
Speaking of all the systems, Elijah, Google has made a lot of changes that are a little confusing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I'm afraid to make any changes to my system.
Miss Moore, never be afraid. We're here for you. Okay. And first of all, thank you, Miss Moore. Good to hear your voice. Yes, everything updates and everything changes. They sell new products. And the reason you sort of have to make the update is because with those new product releases or enhancements to an already stable product you have, who's used something online and you go to your bank and all of a sudden one day it looks completely different. I'm like, wait a second. Yesterday, the balance was here. For 5 years, I clicked there and it said the balance or whatever you're doing. And all of a sudden you're searching through different dots and buttons. They mix that in with security updates. It forces you to have to update it because there are real life security updates out there. There are vulnerabilities in computers. Usually that would affect bigger masses of users, but there are vulnerabilities and they address them constantly. That is unlike your Philco from 1968 with the rabbit ears in the corner of the room, these things need to be updated. By the way, that includes an electric car for you electric car drivers. Those are computers that also need to be updated. But let's talk about our basic password list. So here we go. This is a group effort. 34 people here. Pretty good. Here we go. Are you ready? Let me open our list. And we have some questions. I have some questions for you about it. This is my password saver list. Go. All right, here we go. All right, time to share. Drum roll, please. There we go. And there is our password saver list.
Oh.
So how this is going to work, these all came from suggestions. You can personalize it. You can write my passwords. You could just, write your address, your business, your nickname. I always like to put the date. That's a changeable field. So how we created it was, let's start with our first, you'll be able to have this list, site name. Let's say Lacers. That's the site you need to go to. Let's type in what you would click, a clickable link, LELACERS.org. Now, your username, if you're, let's pick out a name. If I'm let's say, who do I want to pick out? Hazel Smalley is going to put her username in it. Her email is 1234@gmail.com. That's her username. And her password she's going to keep is 1234 exclamation. And then any notes. You could write retirement info for classes and taxes. And next you could go to your site name, LADWP. The URL is ladwp.org. I'm not sure that's right. Your username is 1234. Your password is 1234. And the notes is for LA house for those people that also live elsewhere. And on and on and on. You can replicate this page over and over and over again. And you can change it. You can even write a note here. You can make a note that I would say, I might put a star there and I go shared with Jane. That means somebody else knows that. Or if you have the two-factor, you could write, which means when you sign in, you get a text or email with a secondary number that you have to put in. You could write something, and these are all changeable, 2FA2 cell phone. So this way you know where the second factor comes in, or somebody else that you trust has this list and can get that information. You can then file, I'm going to just save that. And now that is saved. And that document is complete. And now comes the idea of where you're going to save that document. So did you see that? Everybody see that little clickable thing? Everybody's going to get a copy of that. It will all be sent to your emails and you can save it wherever you want. You can even print them. If you're just a person that wants to print that and jot a few special passwords down for that person we're always talking about in class, somebody should know your most important emails or passwords, pardon me. Certainly the main one would be your phone, like that, those 4 digits or 6 digits. We all comfortable now with the fingerprint or face, but if somebody can't get into the phone, that's a problem. If you need assistance and somebody to get information from that. Your text lists on the phone, your emails, your phone communications are pretty valuable stuff if you're indisposed for a moment or so. It's also good protection for you. So that kind of data is pretty important. Any questions on our password list?
Elijah, I use my Yahoo account for email. And sometimes when I'm in there ordering something or whatever, they say they will send me an update to my Gmail account. Would they be sending it to my cell phone or what? And if so, how do I pull it up on my cell phone?
So be very careful when you hear about these updates from third-party vendors. The only reason a company like Yahoo would have an update is because Yahoo is trying to sell you storage. So they're saying, please update to add more storage to your account. Unlike Google, Yahoo doesn't provide a web browser like Chrome. So you should read now, and you should do these things, by the way, if you're going to study an email, definitely do it on your computer. It's more.
This is when I'm tracking, like if I order something through a company using my computer with Yahoo, and I'm ordering. And then I request them to update me as that package is shipping. They'll tell me they will update to my Gmail account.
So be careful with that. How, if I was going to go check, think about this. So if I was going to go to Amazon, say I bought an Amazon gift for Gloria Olivas. Gloria, I'm going to give you a special Amazon gift for Christmas because you're right in the middle of my screen, and that's just, you're the first eyes I laid on. So I send Gloria, her package, or myself, I buy myself a package, Miss Moore. When I go to track that, I go to Amazon.com. I look at my orders. There's an order section. And it will tell me this location, the delivery, and where it is. Even if on that day, it often will show me a truck. You can sort of see it's at the 110 and it moves slowly. So UPS would be the same thing, or FedEx. You'd be able to go right to your, type in, search UPS in Google, and then type in your tracking number. And you'll be able to see those auto updates right in front of you. I'd be a little remiss about downloading something or giving away an email address in that nature. Does that make sense?
Yes, that means that because I can track it through the company that I ordered from.
That's the goal. That's the goal, not some third-party pop-up window, even if it is legitimate. And sometimes if you buy stuff from overseas, the tracking companies are different, right? Like I buy Chinese-made products for computers, and I have to track it with like a different kind of DHL-ish kind of company. And sometimes it's a little more complex, but most of my UPS and FedExes are the simplest things. And certainly within Amazon or Best Buy or Walmart, any of the boxes stores, Costco, you'd be able to check with them directly. And Ms. Moore brings up a really good point. Like clicking the link is a big thing. Be careful of that link you click. So Ms. Moore gets 1,000 more points right now for bringing that question to class. And I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any more questions on your password list? Who has a password list, right? Oh, Robert, give me one moment. Who has a password list? Who does good and like they're pretty comfy and they have a password list? Pat A is just shaking her head. No, I'm going to be honest. I can't lie. This is being recorded. So let's see. So, Miss O'Connor, always showing off in class with the most finest password list. Last month, she said, look at the cake I'm baking. Thank you. That's good. But it comforts me as your tech, who's with you, because when you lose your password list, you can call us and we're going to fix it. But it comforts me to know you have some kind of grip, because if you don't have a grip on it, nobody does, right? If you don't know where some of those basics are, nobody does. It's sort of like our money, in our retirement. Like we don't have to be perfect accountants, but on your mental shelves, you sort of have to have an idea of what to check if something goes wrong, right? Just to leverage yourself. And you can never let go of that to the last breath. You sort of still need to be the person in charge of that ship in some way or another. So the password list does, it removes it from that gaggle. Or I like to talk about the little passbook you got at the bank in 1986, Washington Mutual. And you've been using that same little vinyl calendar and writing your little notes down, that you have a list. I'd like you to have it online where you could save it in Dropbox or iCloud or something. Robert, I'm going to get to your question in one moment. But most I'd like to get it out of your head and into a safe piece of paper. Now, when you make that list, questions are coming. I just want you to think that you can make the main list, the master list, the one from A to Z. And then you can make the guest list. This is the password for my Wi-Fi. This is for Blue Cross. This is for the cat sitter. This is for, this is for that and that and that. So you can share the mini list. They don't have to have your Netflix account. Like, oh, nothing's wrong with me. And all of a sudden, my cousin Merle is on my Netflix account because I gave him my whole pass list. He was there for an emergency, Merle, and now he's watching Hulu. So watch that. We have a couple of hands up, Robert, and then Beverly. Robert, please unmute yourself.
We was talking before about the two systems. I have the same information on my phone as I do on my computer because it has a saved whatever they call it information. Yeah,
good.
And so you can go back and get it. But I have screwed up before. Just for saying screwed up, but I have. And luckily I have a brother that's a tech. He used to work for Siemens, and he straightened me out. But I'd screw up something else, and that is all this information that you save. And because I know sometimes you have to get rid of some information and to give you more space. But they will try to sell you some space, even some what you call it, protection, and all that costs you money.
Mhm. So I'm going to answer your question, Ron.
Well,
And
that's
Beverly,
more
you
like
had
a
a
state.
question?
Well, yeah, I have a statement. So I came to the class a little bit late, so I didn't know about the password project, but I already had set up actually in Excel where I have set up my passwords, and then I actually have a link so I can go in there and actually just click on the link and it takes me to that
Perfect.
website.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a perfect, it's sort of what I did, just for more general. I'll share it again, just for class in general, so you don't have to make a Excel sheet, just a little more eye-friendly, easier.
mhm,
It's essentially the same thing. You'll be able to
mhm.
click on lacers.org there, go right to Lacers,
Yeah,
and then enter your item. That was just the concept.
yeah, but I do have a password for that that Excel account also.
Right, which would be Microsoft. Because Microsoft runs Excel and Word, so that you'd, under my password list, it would be Microsoft Office 365. Sign in Beverly Clark at gmail.com, password 12345. And those would be all of those items.
Mhm.
Getting back to Robert, the goal of computers now is to sell storage. And that storage can be, I see a hand up too. I'll get to you, Charlene, KC, in just a moment. That's a natural effect, and it's sort of very helpful. So for example, you can now buy, for Apple, I think it's $99 a year, 2 terabytes of storage. If you're living in a 3-bedroom apartment, that means you can clear out the old office. That whole room can go filed away on Google Drive or iCloud Drive or Dropbox. Those boxes in the closet that you don't want to get rid of because the papers or the pictures are important. You can now save them all on the drive. You can add 2 terabytes. In Google, you can go 500 terabytes. I mean, you can go, the sky's the limit. It does give you that option to just make your world bigger. It also means you don't have to buy a monster computer as much anymore. The kids, I always say the kids, if you're at LAUSD or college for that matter, you are very busy creating stuff. I mean, who remembers the walking in the backpack in college with your 4 books, the loose leaf? It was heavy, right? Like that was a lot of stuff to cross campus with. Or in high school, schlepping in the morning, getting out of class, mom's pushing you out of the house, and you've got that huge bag, and you got the sniffles and you're missing 1 sock. Those days are over. It's all on the phone because the cloud saves it all. So you can avoid all of that heavy lifting, and that cost comes along with that. Robert is right, where if you go, you delete things. I'm a big email deleter. If I'm done with it, it goes away into the trash. Because a lot of my emails have a little picture or an image, and we all have those friends that are constantly sending a picture. Look, here's a frog dancing on a leaf in snow. You know what I mean? And then it's on your computer for the next, 3 years, taking up space. But if you don't want to get that, you can buy more space. And that is sort of a beautiful thing. As far as protection on your computer goes, any computer that was purchased 2018, 17 or newer, Windows or Mac, if you keep your computer up to date, you'll not have to pay for any of that extra protection that they talk about, that it's even any good. Your job is to, first of all, you're the most protection. Your hands are the ones that click and give the information away. So that's the first line. But the other line is you just keep your computers up to date as you can. We have a hand from Charlene KC. Feel free to unmute yourself, Charlene, or I can help you and give you there you go.
Yes, good afternoon,
Good
everyone.
afternoon.
Elijah, are we gonna get a copy of that sheet that we can download later?
Charlene, we gave it out already in class and you were late, so you have to wait till next year now. Oh my gosh, once a year in October, as of course, Charlene, we haven't released it yet.
I'll give it to
I gotcha. And yes, of course, Charlene, that's your sheet. I mean, you created it. Lacers paid for it in a sense, Not only did Lacers paid for it, I was able to get the intelligence of double-digit years of workers here that understood the system into what that sheet needed. We talked about it every month. So it's a smart sheet in many ways. But yes, we got a couple more improvements. We're going to share how to virtualize it next month. And then in December, it will be disseminated to the entire class. Everybody will get a copy emailed to them. They'll be able to download it, use it. Even Beverly Clark with her fancy Excel sheet can have a copy. So yeah,
So I-
like even if you don't, the point is, even if you don't need it, you can share it with somebody you know. You can.
So I
print
can
it
throw
out
away
and say,
my 3x5 file?
oh my God, that's probably a good luck charm by now, those 3x5 files. I wouldn't want to take away something that got you through a pandemic, crazy world history. I like to touch things around me. Oh my God, the old magnifying glass or the stapler. I still got a stapler, and there's no staples in it. But I like to see it there. So yeah, the point is that you can, let's say, not throw out your 3x5 cards, but you can update the format for
Okay.
you and for the people around you, which I
Okay.
think.
I have a second question. Last month, month before last, I broke the camera on my phone. So I called Consumer Cellular
Mhm.
and they sent me a new phone, and they told me before we can send it, we need your charge card because you had to pay a deductible from Assurian, which is their third-party insurance.
Assurian, yes, I deal with them. We're a repair shop. Assurian is insurance for phones.
Yeah. So anyway, so they sent me the phone, and you have to return it by a certain date. Otherwise, you pay this ridiculous amount.
Yes.
Anyway, so I go to Apple. I went to Apple 3 days. 3 days.
Okay.
I made an appointment each time. And what I did was go into Apple. And for whatever reason, the cloud was there at Apple from 2015 all the way to 2022. It's 8 years.
Yeah.
I went into Photos and I purged all my files.
Feels
that I-
good. Feels good. Feels good.
Oh, but I was a zombie. I was a zombie. And so anyway, I put all the ones that I wanted to keep on a thumb drive.
Mhm.
So I'm good with that. So then I had to call Assurian and let them know I needed to, how do I activate the new phone? And so they transferred me back to Consumer Cellular, and I ended up some lady in Maine. And so she said she handled US Cellular, Consumer Cellular. Anyway, she
We're in the
transferred me
weeds
to
now. Yeah.
She transferred me to Apple. I don't know how I got Apple, but I got Apple. 3 hours later, still couldn't really activate it. I had to call in the next day for another 2 hours with another lady from Apple. And finally, I was able to activate it. They changed my iOS to 17.
That's the latest one, by the way, the latest iOS. Folks, OS means operating system for
Operating
your
system.
computer. iOS means operating system for your phone. And we're talking about a phone right now. So that's great, great work. You were persistent. You hung in
Okay.
there.
But now, because it's got all these new stops and whistles, I don't even know how to make my phone ring.
So the
I
most
mean-
basic function is complicated now. Yeah. So that makes sense, but you will get it. You will get it. And the ring, there's either a switch on the side, or you'll have to go into settings inside of you look for the settings gear. And you can
Yes.
contact me, because everybody uses different phones. Charlene, you can contact me after class and I can guide you
Okay.
through some of those items. But yeah, the new phones, I got a new phone. Oh my God, I got a flip phone. You know those new Android flip phones?
Oh,
Is Peter
yeah?
there? I want to tell Peter about it. Where is?
Oh, wow.
Those are over $1,000.
No, well, let me tell, I got it, but I'm a hustler, right? So you think I'm gonna pay $1,000, Peter? Do I look good? Does anything about Elijah say $1,000 to you? Let me show you the phone, everybody. I'll just give you a little review, product review. Let me open this up. I'm actually traveling for work. I am in Phoenix. It's hot here. Let me do this. Okay, that'll work. So here's my flip. I'm in a hotel room. So there's my flip phone. It's an Android. Apple doesn't
Right.
make a flip phone. And by the way, for Halloween, let's be scary. This is called a flip phone. Everybody else, if you have a regular phone, they call that a slab phone. That's the technology name for it. The backroom name is, I could say right there, Betty Smith's got a slab phone. Sally King's got a slab phone. Rothner Jones has a slab phone.
I have a new
They have
slab phone.
Dale O'Connor has a slab phone. But anyway, so it's cool. Best part about it is the front lights up. And you can do these things with the front.
Ah,
And it's very helpful. I can really go through my apps. You see, I can get everything right on there.
Oh.
That's good.
Okay.
It opens up really nicely. It also, you can make a shelf so it could sit like that, so you can video someone or talk to someone. Now, and so far so good. It's been really sort of a fun thing, but here's where the issues come. I don't know if you can see in here, you see that little crease in the middle?
Yeah.
I keep touching it. Like if you have a sore in your mouth, you go like this all day long. Where did it go? Where did it go?
Oh, yeah.
Keep my hands off of it. Like you keep touching it, and there are hinges. So I was told that this is not to be brought to the beach in the least bit. Like
What's
you
the
have
name
one
of it?
grain of sugar in there. I see your hand, Miss Moore, and you are grinding. So the slab phone is a durable phone. Apple certainly makes the most elegant.
So what did you pay for it?
So
Yes.
we talked about returns because we were talking about who was our last speaker who was really informative. And Miss Moore, you're up. She was talking about it. She had to return her phone. So I had an older Android, like a Samsung, that I kept on, like this was pre-pandemic. I only changed it because, and we're going to have a little slide presentation coming up, the battery started going. To me, that's when you change your phone, when the battery's dead, because that's the whole purpose of having that walkie-talkie in your pocket for emergencies, for convenience. Certainly us earthquake people in SoCal should have a good battery phone. I found myself just walking around with an external battery, plugging it in all day. I was just a cheapskate. However, I went to the Verizon store. Who remembers going with mom and dad to buy a used car in 1971, the 4-hour drama? The salesman would sit you down. Let me go check with my boss. I think I can get you the deal. He comes back, well, I couldn't. Then they draw it out on a piece of paper. Then they go back again. 6 hours you were there. I find the phone stores like the same thing. Before I even stepped into the Verizon store, I was exhausted. I was like, I could just feel it. Like, it was coming, intelligence, algorithms, tech cutties, what can I get from me? However, this phone was $1,000 phone, but with the return, even though it was cracked and old, it was $400. But here's where they get you, Peter. I was in that glorious place where the contract was paid off. I was month to month. There's a freedom to that, right? Because if you cancel it within the middle of the contract, they always try to change their phone service and say, I want to go from Verizon to T-Mobile and say, well, you're still on the contract for a year. It's going to cost you $487. Who remembers that kind of game?
But they got rid of those.
What's that, Peter?
Right.
They got rid of contracts.
They got rid of contracts for the most part. But when you buy the phone, how they game you is when you return the phone, they give you a $400 credit, making this a $600 purchase, a ridiculous amount for a phone, by the way, but there we are. They give you that credit. However, it's amortized monthly. So if you're paying it off, like if you're on that payment plan, it's like $11 less a month. Until the math comes into them. It's like, so it's just like the used car lot. You know what I mean? It's no different, like kicking the tires. So I braced myself. I girded my loins when I stepped into that Verizon store. And I did my homework and I walked out with a really expensive sort of necessary modern appliance that you didn't need to have when you were born. Like it's a thing that your parents didn't need to really deal with in their lives, right? So from having this paid off phone and a low phone bill, I went right back to the top. That's why class will be 4 hours today. And I have to pay for the phone. So Miss Moore, you have your hand up.
Elijah,
Yeah.
Lace was paid for that phone.
Lace was paid for the Tesla. Lace was paid for the Tesla. Lace was paid for my Tesla. But it is. I thought about that. When I was going off into the world in college, I thought of everything I needed. I never thought of how to pay for a phone. Like that was never a thought like that. I have my books, I have my this, I have my that. I have the quarters or not dimes for the payphone at the end of the dorm. It was never a concept that, or if you have kids and you don't want your kid running around with a beat up old phone. I mean, it's really an industry we have all been seeing from the very beginning. You can't say that for a lot of things. Like we didn't see the steam engine take over the car. Like the one that the T model Ford came by and you thought, my horse and buggy are done. But we were all sort of around for that transition. Miss Moore.
Yes, Elijah. Alan Depp had a question in the chat.
Alan Depp, let's go there.
Yeah,
Thank
want to know if it's better to update to a Windows 10 or keep their Windows 11, continue to use their Windows 11.
Look at this exact question. So, okay, so let's talk about the Windows. There's a lot of people, I like going around here. So by the way, you're all going to get that password list that we saw. It's going to go in everybody's inbox. And even if you have one, you could print it out and you can hand it to your best friend, Marie, and say, Marie, please write down your 5 biggest passwords because I need to have them in case. You could be that friend or family member. Robert, yes, sir. You have a question?
You was talking about the smartphones and the smart cars. If you got a hybrid electric car, you got to get used to the screen on that too. They come with the big screen and it's worse than the computer. And same thing You was telling about how they messed over you on bringing back your phone with the contract. Same thing happened to me. Some would be stuck with the same people for 2 years, maybe, but I'm getting rid of them as soon as I do that. You know,
No, I am.
you got me.
I am the wrong, Robert. I am the ultimate consumer. I like buying new stuff. I like toys. I always saw the guys in my neighborhood that would come home with the new 8-track stereo or the hi-fi. They were the happiest guys, like, because it was cool to them. Something new is coming along, and they were like, "Wow, this has the reverse winder on it," and I don't know. There was something as a kid that attracted me to being open, like to all that gear out there. But they've found a way to monetize it. LNW, you have a question?
Yes. Hi, Elijah.
Hi, Alan.
Thank you. I just have
Alan Deb next.
two quick questions. The first one is I like the password list that you have that you guys have created. And is that the Word file?
It's going to be sent as a PDF.
That's good. So PDF file is more secure. So
It's more secure and it's fillable. As we created it, what I did in the
I see.
back end, it meant so you can type into those PDFs. You don't have to do anything fancy. There'll be a
Oh,
field that
that's
you can
good.
fill in.
Fillable is good. Okay, so that's my second question is that, it has to do with the security. Like for us, we already bought the security package installed on our PCs and laptops. So it's like a McAfee, right? Some people use Nordstrom. But then our internet, like Spectrum or whoever people use different internet or Verizon virus, they have their own security package. So
Can I step in here?
do you
Ellen?
do you use both?
No, definitely not. That would be like pouring
Just one.
ammonia and bleach to clean the floor. You know what I mean? Like it's not going
Right.
to get better cleaner. It's going to cause a bad reaction.
Right.
So here's my speech, and this is going to go to Alan Deb. Alan, because they ask a question: is it better to update to Windows 11, or should they continue using Windows 10? So here's my speech. It's a good one. My stem winder. Yes, if you can get your computer up to Windows 11, you most certainly should.
Okay.
And you should do your little bit of study. The only reason not to move to Windows 11 is if you have specific software. So in LA will get people that have a Windows 10 computer and they have video editing software or sound editing software, things of that nature. And there's a little echo. I'm just going to mute a couple of people if you don't mind. I hear just a little echo. So they don't make a version that works in Windows 11. So people stay with an older system. But 9 out of 10 users, like me and probably most everyone in class, is using basic programs. So it's good to update in any environment. Now, what that does for you, Ellen, as far as security goes, if you use Windows 11 or you keep your Windows 10 very updated, you don't have to purchase any of that McAfee or Norton or Avast or take any of the giveaways they give you. And by the way, if somebody gives you something for free and it says security, they're trying to get more information from you than they can give you. The security world is rapidly changing, as you know, like it moves so fast. There's no way a static piece of software you put on your computer can keep up. That's why if your computer is connected to the internet, it's staying on, you're letting it sleep, you're using Windows 11 or the latest Windows 10, you update it. Windows 10 is a very viable program. Millions and millions of people still use it. You're getting all the security you need.
Okay.
You don't need to add those. Then they're going to get a pop-up. It's time to expire. You got to put your credit card in. Your Windows computer comes with a thing called Microsoft Defender, Defender.
Okay.
It's a fabulous program. It's managed by Microsoft. I've come across Apple computers and people put Norton on there or one of those McAfees. And the logic is, and I think will land with you, is Apple's the smartest computer company in the world. I think we can agree. We love Windows, Bill Gates, but Apple is really special. And they're very private. It's like a country club. They're very good to their customers with security. Who can be better than Apple to make an Apple better? It's not going to be an outside company. It's not going to be me telling you how to run your life, in a sense. Apple is great at it. And Windows is great at it. And by the way, Windows knows where all the headaches are because everybody's trying to attack Windows computers. So they're the ones getting the information overnight, all day, security patch, this, that. So does that make sense, folks? Like if your computer, if you keep your car, you change the oil, you follow the maintenance in the book, even though it seems expensive and over the top that at 80,000 miles, you need to do, $3,000 worth of oil changes and transmission changes. But if you follow those directions, you will be safe. And then before I get to those questions, those hands, I see Beverly's hand. See that finger that you just went like that? That's the thing you don't want to use and click. I mean, for all of us, thank you, Beverly, for being a good sport. That's you. You're the one that's saying, yes, let me give that information now. So that it goes back to that. But we all have our feelings about it. Please, Beverly, go ahead.
So
My
so
question
let-
is,
oh,
are
sorry.
you saying that Windows Defender is just as good as any of the antivirus like Trend Micro or
10 times better, by the way. Yes,
So,
much
so,
better.
so there's no need to purchase those, just use Windows Defender. Is
Just
that what
use-
I'm hearing?
and keep it up to date. And
Right.
keep the computer up to date. Yes, I recommend that. Because I have a Windows
Okay.
computer here and I keep that.
Okay, so it's no need for the other
I've stopped using that
virus
money.
protect.
Yeah, I've stopped spending money on those virus protection. I've found they've
Okay.
become more of advertising marketing companies than virus protection companies.
Okay,
With the pop-ups and you're running out and special deals and you have 3 warnings and so it's just like anything else. Like if you bought a product new at the store and you've taken care of it, it'll take care of you, right? Like
okay.
whatever you buy,
Right.
computers the
Thank
same way.
you.
But you're very welcome, of
Okay.
course. But it comes down-
Elijah, just
Yeah,
one more
please,
thing.
Ellen.
Yes, for like Spectrum Internet service, when we purchased the Internet service, the security suite comes with it. Although I did not install it because I already have McAfee, so like we don't need to both.
You don't need
also,
2 of them.
right? But so, someone was telling me if you use the internet security from Spectrum Internet service,
Mhm.
that means all the activities that I'm using while I'm online, somehow they can capture it, isn't it? In other words, if I
So-
visit certain financial institution website, they can, do online banking and do other things, transactions, they can also capture it, isn't it?
Let me get, but this is okay, we're going into, Ellen is like a postdoc grad student with this question.
Oh,
No, it's a good question. It's a good question. I want to show you something. The
Okay.
only thing that can be captured from your screen, they're marketing you, Ellen. They're trying to scare you with words. Let me show you what can be found out about you and also how you're marketed. You ever wonder how, you could be typing, you could type in socks and the next thing you know, all the advertisements on your webpage are for different kinds of socks. Socks, purple socks, Christmas tree socks. So this is what shows. It's called your IP address.
yes.
You can literally open your browser and go, what is my IP address? Mine is 162.83.128.187.
Mhm.
I'm in a hotel room. In my business, by the way, you get jobs in corporate towers and you hang out in the day and you go in at 10 o'clock at night because can be no computers on. You've got to update everything from like 11 o'clock to 3 in the morning. So that's my night in Phoenix. So that's the computer world. Same thing here. This is the only information, my Wi-Fi in my room, which I paid for the private Wi-Fi at the Courtyard Inn. It's that 162.83.128.187. That means anytime this computer goes onto the internet in this space, I could be at your house, Ellen, or Robert's house or Novella's or anybody for that nature, you have an IP address and they use that to market you, and that's public. And it's meant to keep safe. That means if you go on and you start screaming, blah, 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 blue, 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 negative, all the way people get on computers, or if you're doing a crime, you're trading something, you're stealing something, mail fraud type of thing, it's going to come for your address, right? So let's say, let me pick on somebody. Oh, I'm going to pick on Belinda Hill. So let's say Belinda Hill's running a lottery, a secret lottery, poker game, a private poker game out of her place. It's online, and she's running gambling. They'll know it comes from her IP address, 123.456.78, and they'll shut her computer down. They'll say anything that goes to IP address 123.45678.910, which happens to be our gambler, Miss Hill, that you'd be blocked. That's the concept, right? So that means, if you're ever go on your website and it says dangerous website, and you realize instead of typing Google, you typed in Google with GW, or like there's just been a little mistake. That's what the browser does, okay? That's the address you're giving away. So I don't think that I've been offered it too. The Spectrum suite really does a lot for me. And what they do is they'll sell it to you and then you'll have to resubscribe in a year. I can't tell you enough about phishing. Who's been scammed here? So we're going down that road. Who's been
I
scammed? Like,
have.
or even gotten close where they're on your screen and you finally wake up, you come to your senses and you're like, oh no, can't be happening, right? So that's happened to us all. That's called phishing. That's with a P, like this, that's the hip name, PHI. The concept is, I'm going to throw some bait in the water and see who bites. I can send a million emails out and they all say, this happened or that happened. Somebody's going to respond. That's sales, right? If you make enough phone calls, you get enough people hanging up on you and kicking you, like the old Laurel Hardy movie, they're selling vacuums door to door. Everybody closes the door in their face. And then one person says yes. And then they screw that up too, of course, because they're Laurel and Hardy. But that's the concept of sales. And these things are called confidence games. Con games, con men, that word's con is confidence. So when you see a logo that looks familiar to you, let's say, I'll use Miss O'Connor, let's say she's more regional and she's using ABC Las Vegas Bank, not like a Wells Fargo kind of, thing that we would know, but the logo looks right. It's like local bank of Nevada town. And that looks like my logo. The address is on the bottom. They've gained her confidence. Well, everything else looks good. And I'm busy. I got to get this on because I'm going to do that thing. So Ms. O'Connor could easily just use that. They've gained her confidence. So what was that other line they used to say, trust but verify? So that could very well be correct. That could be ABC Bank of Nevada, and you really did win the sweepstakes. But your job would be to go check that directly. So Ellen, getting back to the Spectrum, it's sort of like a free highway. It's how you behave on that highway that you get on. It's not free, you pay for it. You're on the internet, and how do you behave and how do you respond? Do you drive defensively? What do you do? And I find that's 99% of the scam calls we get in here, and we get a lot of them.
I see. I got it. Thank you. So, but we're still using the McAfee for the computer security. You mean like
That's
in addition to the Microsoft
vendor,
the vendor that we have, right? So you said that those are not necessary at all.
I don't recommend them at the shop anymore.
Every year.
We used to, but now they seem to cause more trouble than they used to solve. Now, if are you using Windows 10 or 11?
For my PC, I'm still using 10, and it's been an update, all the time. Laptop is 11.
So yeah, Windows 10 is still updating. It's still a very viable, popular program. I would imagine governments are still using, local governments are still using Windows 10. So they're working on it. So no, in my opinion, you wouldn't need that kind of protection. You know who needs specific, protection, which is software that lives on your computer? Money traders, Bitcoin traders, day traders, Wall Street cats. You know what I mean? That have those 7 screens. You've seen those, like you have that person in your neighborhood that works from 3 in the morning until 7 in the morning and they're done. Just working on the Asian markets and making trades before the Dow opens or something like that. There's a lot of that out there. Those people aren't allowed to go to many of the websites that they enter. It's not illegal, but it means there could be a London Amex, a London LIBOR market cap website, which has graphs and charts. And you've seen those financial things that are really deep, but you can't go there. It's sort of blocked. So then people use something called a VPN.
Yes.
Now, this is going to go into our conversation. Who's heard of a VPN?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So what does VPN stand for?
Virtual private network.
Peter's got it right. It's a virtual private network. And what does that do, a VPN? It blocks that IP address that I showed you. But you know what else? Let's say you go to a legitimate site and you have a VPN, one of those blocking tools. You won't be able to get into that legitimate site because they're going to say, we don't want to deal with him. Why are we going to give him or her that information? They're not giving us anything in return. There's no free rides. Elisa Torres.
I have a question and advice. I just came back from Flamingo last week, and they were part of that Caesar's MGM problem with the scammers, and remember how they had to pay them.
I read all about it.
So then I get an email from Caesars to say, hey, by the way, you got hacked, but we can help you if you join us as security. That's another scam, right? Because if they're
It's
asking you
not.
for money,
It's funny. It's a funny one. We've all had that. I've been your company, whether it's Caesars or someone else is legitimately hacked, and they recommend some virus protection, which in my opinion is going to do nothing. If you're fearing that somebody was hacked, this is how, if somebody breaches, there was another one like Fidelity Insurance. Yeah, I had like 100 calls. We had to fix things. So one of these companies gets hacked. And then you find out. If you are using, I'll be right with you. If you're a person that your login name for most accounts is your email, that's fine. So Novella Jordan at yahoo.com could be Novella's login name for 100 accounts. But if Novella has this one password she just really likes, like I dig great music and sunsets, exclamation. And that's just the one that Novella's been using for 20 years. It works. She always remembers it. We all have that favorite password. Then it becomes an issue, right? Because that means you can try that over and over again. I can just go to open Beverly. If I get Beverly Clark at gmail.com and I get her password, what would Beverly's password be? Blue skies in morning, money pound money 136. And then I just go to LEWP or I go to Wells Fargo. I just keep trying. I get a robot to hit every major account. I know that Beverly's in Southern California, so I'll try businesses that relate to Southern California. And then I might get lucky. So in your password list, that could be a time to change some redundancy in your passwords. That's where those bigger breaches, but I don't usually download that third-party software. They say, just in case you can have this. I'm not a fan.
I use my Visa card, so I don't have a password on my Visa card.
If you're not going, so most Visa cards are attached to a bank, right? It would be a Bank of America Visa or Bank of Nebraska Visa. See, I got you in there, Ms. Moore. And then you would have an account you could attach to that, right? You can then go to your Bank of Nebraska MasterCard account, and then you would have a username and a password to be able to access.
Should I contact my bank and let them know what happened?
Oh, most definitely. You most definitely should. Yeah, and it's a call. You don't have to start an account. You can just do the right thing. Make sure you call the number on the back of the card, right? Have that in front of you. And make sure you don't glance at it once, because you could type in 800-123-456, but the card could say 888. And you're in the wrong place. I've done that. I've been lazy. I've like looked at it down, then dialed 811, but it wasn't. It was 888, and I get to some weird. And the scammers know that. They know that the number for Citibank is 888-1234. So they'll make another number. There'll be 888-1235, hoping to catch people making that mistake.
Elijah.
Thank you.
Mike, I'll be right with you. Let me get Uma in, Mr. Chen, and then you're next, if that's okay. Uma?
Yes, Elijah. So talking about use of VPN, I never, usually I financial, any organization I want to go into, I do it from home. I don't do it from outside.
Well, that's smart.
But just in case VPN, can you talk about in a more detail how to use VPN or using the cell phone? Just in case in emergency, I have to use it.
A VPN won't help you on a cell phone.
It won't?
A cell phone bounces off of different cell towers. So you're connecting, so your IP address is connected to the Wi-Fi where you are right now. I imagine we're all on Wi-Fi, but your phone is using a cellular connection. And it's changing. So Uma, you know, when we fixed the computer for Uma and you had to drive from your place to my shop, you hit 6 different towers, right? It wasn't the same. You weren't just connected to Uma's Wi-Fi in your house as you left and it followed you around the world. It moved over and over again, which makes phones a little safer in many ways. So a VPN would only be used on a computer, and likely only if you were doing something that required it and you were in an official capacity and they recommended it. I wouldn't think it's something you would want to deploy yourself.
So if I have a laptop with me and I log into financial website, so how I can use the VPN instead of using their hotel's password?
You wouldn't want to do that. So if I was at a hotel and I had my laptop and I wanted to go to the financial website, I would use my phone. I would use the app on the phone. I'd go to my Wells Fargo app or my Citibank app. You know, if I'm traveling, I'm on Wi-Fi. But you could do something else in your computer, and it's called an incognito or a private window. And Mr. Chen, I know your question, and we'll talk about that. That means you can go to a window that doesn't save any history. So you don't have a memory that you went to wellsfargo.com or mumasbusiness.com. But when you're in a hotel room, or even if you're in somebody else's home and you're not sure, you're visiting, so on and so forth, and you want to check your financial information, download the app on your phone for that bank or that function. And
Elijah, would that be
Don't worry.
something like a DuckDuckGo?
It's not really, Mr. Chen, step up. It's
Yes.
your turn. They're all running over you. But Pat, yes. So a DuckDuckGo does is it just blocks the history. It doesn't really do anything else. So that means, let's say you're researching something, Pat, and you're typing in purple flowers for a wedding in February. Let's say there's 7 kinds of flowers that are known to be the flower for weddings in February. DuckDuckGo will limit that information coming your way because it has a much more limited scope. Now, if you just use the Google browser, the normal Google browser, it has a much larger net to get you more information regarding, I use the silly flowers, but it could be financial, tax questions, so on and so forth. And this sort of goes into AI, by the way, which is on our list, which we should talk about next. AI changes a lot of these questions, but Robert, you had a thought? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was thinking, like you said, it's a website. When you're at home, you have a website or you have Wi-Fi. When you step into, I have a couple of vehicles and they have Wi-Fi built into them already. Just like the one I couldn't use, can't figure out the screen right now in the old truck that I had. Both of them have Wi-Fi. When you're traveling, is that like they're going to bump off a tower too, or are they going to go to your Wi-Fi?
It's not Wi-Fi. It's a cellular connection when you're traveling. And same thing with I learned it was weird. About 5 years ago, I got a call. I need to update my car. So I have to change the oil in my Honda. That's what I do, right? Every X miles, I get that little light. And I'm guilty now. I'm like 100 miles over. And every time I put my foot on the pedal, I feel like I'm killing my car. I got to get it in right away. But with a electric car, and maybe even regular combustion cars later, there'll be a computer in there. And I had to be able to make sure the Wi-Fi could reach the driveway because the car needs to connect to the Wi-Fi to make the updates, right? Because the updates were too big for the cellular, just using the cellular phone. But that also goes to something called Starlink. We've heard of Elon Musk, and he developed an international Wi-Fi system through satellites, not like the cables we have. Whether it's Dale O'Connor in Vegas or you're here in fancy LA with a lot of cable everywhere, they made that satellite to be able to track his cars, and that's why it's sort of valuable because you could be anywhere in the middle of nowhere and they can aim the satellite at you and you can have connectivity, which is, by the way, the future of Wi-Fi. So I want to move on to something about the AI.
I was going to ask one more question.
Sure.
I have a problem with that too because I got Wi-Fi in my house. 2 cars are parked outside, and if I shut it down, it'll bounce off and go to that Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And
Wi-Fi is only as good as far as it can go from the modem and the router. There's ways to increase that, but if you wanted to do something in your car on Wi-Fi, you'd park it closer to the house, use that network, complete the task.
Okay.
Then drive on, Robert. You know what I mean? You're just like your phone when you're doing the update.
No, I'm talking about I'm in my house, and it'll try. I guess when I turn it off, my phone don't stay on too long. Neither my computer. When it goes to sleep that long after I cut it off or stop using it, and the signal will bounce from my car. And this parked out on the curve, and my car now is parked in the driveway, and it still does that. So I could lock my home Wi-Fi and forget about it.
Yes, I think it sounds that way, but of course, read the manual for the car. Everyone, they're very unique, and the tech changes so quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, everybody, look at this.
Mr. Chen, don't forget Mr. Chen, Elijah.
Mr. Chen, yes, are you back? Where are you, Mr. Chen?
Right here.
Please, Miss Moore, you got us. Good, go.
Yeah. If you turn on the VPN, many times I try to access to my banking account, they will deny you because they cannot access.
Yeah, but it could be a foreign actor.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. Chen. It could be me blocking my VPN, trying to hack into Hazel Smalley's account. Because if there was anybody in this room's account I would go for, it would be Counselor Smalley. And just because I know she's got $1 billion of Bitcoin under the bed. But no, in seriousness, like I use a name, but any personal names account, it could be Robert B. or Betty Smith. They would say this is a blank actor. Imagine somebody at your door ringing the bell and they got the blank. I don't even want to go. Like you can't see them, right? It's like Halloween. So they can't see who's trying to get in there because they're matching Pat's IP with her password and her two-factor authentication. And when everything clicks, then you get into your stuff.
So you have to turn it out when you try to access.
Yeah. So if you're using a VPN for, if there are foreign sites that you need to get to communicate, they're legitimate. Turn it off when you need to use your bank. Or if your bank says no, right? If your bank says no. I want my bank to know it's my IP address because I do most of my banking from, as fancy as I'd like to think I am with world travel, most of it I do it from my little place in Los Angeles. I'm sitting on the couch in the same spot doing my affairs monthly. So I want to, Ms. Moore, you have your hand up?
Yes, I have two questions.
Please.
What's the importance of the IP address? That's the internet protocol address to the Wi-Fi, right? What's the importance of that again?
It's to be able to identify you as the user. So let's say I just sent you, let's say, Ms. Moore, I sent your social security check out back when they mailed them. And I just wrote A. Moore, ABC Street, Nebraska, A City, Nebraska, zip 1234. It wouldn't know where to go. Your IP address directs traffic to your computer or device.
Okay.
It also means it's your price of information. They could see that Ms. Moore checked out Sports and Fields and Stream magazine this month, and then French Riviera cooking, and then she looked for 2 flights to Hawaii. So they know sort of a little bit about you now and some of your interests.
Okay.
You're doing, and they know that, then they should send more information to the IP address of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But a world, which would be yours per se. Now, a world without IP would be a real tangle. It would be like the 405 without any dividing lines on it. It would just be a blacktop, right? There would be nowhere to move things. Jan, you have your hand up? Oh, new voice.
And my second question is, Google keeps a lot of history. So how can I block them for keeping the history every time I go into something?
If you don't want Google to know your history, don't type anything in the computer. I mean, that's what they do. They are data miners. That's the whole internet. That's everything you're using here. You know what I mean, Ms. Moore? Like, there, you can block it. You can use incognito windows. But that's what they do. When they say on Alan Deb, they have 4 billion data points, right? Like you've heard that line. I can predict what Robert's going to have to dinner tonight because I have 4 billion data points on Robert, and we can do enough math to say at the time of day, where he is, sun, moon, stars, he's going to have, he's going to have one of the pizzas he delivered to us earlier. Thank you, I got mine. But you know what I mean? It's that easy to sort of predict with all this information on people. But yeah, the computer's a data miner. So if you don't want it in there, don't ask. Does that make sense? It's like sort of harsh, but the truth is it will save all your information somewhere.
Okay, because when I'm doing a Google search, no matter what I search for, it's always a history of everything I've searched.
You can clear that history, but Google's still going to have it.
Okay.
If I want to go a little deeper, yes, you can clear that. And by the way, if you clear your history, be careful. You might not be able to get to that website that you got to so easily. So you might want to write that down. But I want to ask another, Ms. Moore, I want to go do some Google AI because it came out last month and everybody has access to it now. And it's very helpful, I think, Ms. Moore. Jan? Do I see Jan's hand up?
I see her. I seen Jan's question in the chat.
Okay, let's go take a look.
She says, I'm in London.
How cool is that, Jan? Wow, you're in London.
Do you recommend buying SIM card versus a hot box?
Okay, so well, we have an international meeting today, everybody. We have Nebraska. We have probably I know we have the East Coast, some southern states. We have Nevada. We have Montebello.
Georgia.
I got to laugh at Noreen. Noreen laughed. Noreen got it. We had Montebello. We have, let's see some other great cities. We have
Georgia.
Los Angeles. We have Georgia. Where are you, Sally?
Tacoma, Washington.
Oh my goodness, we're in Tacoma, Washington. I don't get out enough. My God, I can't wait till my retirement now. Yes, so we are global. Let's talk about overseas travel and phones. I actually booked a trip at the end of the year. I am not from the travelers. I didn't even like getting on this short jaunt to Phoenix last night. I don't like it. I don't like airports. I don't like traveling. I'm fine in Los Angeles. Why do I have to go? I can see it on YouTube, but nevertheless, I have to go. So yeah, no, that's my feeling. I'm that boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I'm good here.
That's
You
the
know, it's been
beauty
4
of
years you
Zoom.
haven't left the house. I don't know. I'm worried about the pandemic. It's been 12 years, Elijah. Nah, I think I'm good here. But anyway, if your phone is from the States, Jan, like if it's a Verizon, T-Mobile, if it's one of those AT&T carriers, you can, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, there's international settings. And these days you can contact Verizon or your provider, and they can deploy that service. You don't even have to really call them. They can guide you on the phone where you can flip a switch and say, you now have international roaming service, and you can turn that off. Now, and the other point, getting to the SIM card, Cricket, she's using Cricket. So that might be a little more interesting. I'm not overly familiar with how Cricket works. We all know what a SIM card is. That's a little tiny card that fits in the side of your phone. Sometimes you'll see a little hole on the phone, like a little dot in there that you can stick something in, a paper clip. That's where the SIM card lives. Lots of phones are moving to digital SIM cards. This phone that I got, there was a whole drama in the store. Like one guy was looking for the SIM card, but there is no SIM card. It's a digital SIM card now, whatever that means, right? So you'd want to find out from Cricket if they have a way for you to go to the settings and turn on or deploy your international settings and learn about the costs for those. And, or if you need to go purchase a SIM card. A hotbox is different. We think of a hotbox in the United States, we call that a hotspot. And that means you could turn your phone into a little Wi-Fi service. There's a way, and we'll do it in, we've done it in past classes. Let's say you have, it's Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, whatever you're doing, Thanksgiving, and you're sitting around and you have you're in a place with no Wi-Fi, but the cell phone service is good. And two of the kids have iPads or something digital to entertain them, or grandpa wants to read his iPad. And you can take your phone and turn that into Wi-Fi connection. It'll go take your cellular system that you're paying for and spread that out as a hotspot. Those are not overly stable. They work, it can work, and we can certainly teach you how to do it. I carry a mobile hotspot. It's an extra device. So if we had a live class, for those of you that I see in live classes or in some of the OEs and you need some tech help, I'll have my own private network, not like the convention center network. So your phone can be a hotspot. So getting back to your question, Jan, yeah, so you use your cousin's Wi-Fi, but you need some Wi-Fi to travel. You need cellular when you're traveling for Google Maps or whatever maps you use. So Cricket does not have any work, doesn't have any access overseas, is what Jan is telling me in the chat. And no access beyond North and South America. I told you should have gone to Brazil for vacation, Jan. So then I think you might want to go and see if they have a phone you can literally rent and you buy hours on. So, right, you can go to a lot of different countries. I saw it in Italy. I know you can do it in Mexico. You can go to a store and you can get a phone and you can purchase X amount of time, 10 hours or $49 for the month. You get like a card, a re-up card, they used to call it. And you can get that phone, you can use it, and then you can return it. Sometimes you see at the airport, you ever see those big airport vending machines with the tech in them? You can literally buy the phone with your credit card. You get a phone number, it works in that country. Or maybe in 2 countries or 3 countries. The EU is different with their laws and things, but you can get that and then you return it when you're done. And I think you probably pay a rental for the phone and you pay for the service. So I don't think the Cricket phone, if it doesn't work in North and South America, I'm guessing might not have a little SIM card you could just pop in there and all of a sudden it becomes a usable phone. So check for local electronic shops in that nature. Or in the old days before we had Google Maps, who remembers the Thomas Guide? Who remembers the Thomas Guide in the back of their car? And who remembers that there was only 2 pages? Like, because I went with like 2 neighborhoods were my neighborhood. So there was like 2 pages were beaten up. There was taco sauce on them. They were white and beat and cruddy, but the rest of it looked brand new.
Yep.
Yeah. I looked through I had a 1986 one I found in the shop, and it's amazing how many things have changed, like between 86 and 2023. Let's do a little AI. So AI means artificial intelligence. What it really means to us, and how I think it could help a senior/retiree or anyone, is it can take I'm answering questions now and I'm segueing, right? Like Uma asked me a question and it segues into Irene's iPad's question or Noreen's, and we're talking about your security, and it went to Alan Deb's Windows 10, Windows 11 questions. But Google's not like that. If you say, what are the best flowers for a wedding in October? It says chrysanthemums, and then it shows you a bunch of pictures. It doesn't sort of integrate that into a conversation. It's not a human. And like I asked Noreen a question, she says, well, yes, Elijah, but that brings me back to something I heard about, unrelated, but somewhat related. That's the human mind has these ways to connect. Google's not like that. You type in motor oil, you get places to buy motor oil or different kinds of motor oil. However, artificial intelligence can take your words and sort of try to understand the deeper meaning of what you're looking for, even if you can't think about it at the moment. I need the thing that goes on the gutter for the Christmas lights. I got it on the tip of my tongue. What is it? And AI will help you with that. There have been some practice sites, one called ChatGPT, but I'm going to show you Google's site. It's called Bard, by the way, after the great Bard, William Shakespeare. Here it is. Let me get rid of this. So if you see bard.google.com, that's how you'll find this. You need to be signed into your Google account, whether it's, jane@gmail.com.
How did you get there?
Hi, Rathna. It is Bard, BARD .google.com. That's BARD, just like Shakespeare, Rathna.
Okay.
And now I'm in here. And can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Let's go and let's do something where it integrates a lot of different thoughts. Write a poem about senior tech class students that like pizza, laughter, and fast red cars. So I put in a bunch of information in there. Let's see what we get. Okay. Ode to senior tech class. Oh, senior tech class, you're a special breed with your love of pizza, laughter, and fast red speed. You're the future of tech, the next big thing, and your passion for learning is truly inspiring. You code all day and debug all night, but always make time for pizza and laughter. It's right. And when you're not coding, you're dreaming of red cars, racing down the highway, leaving behind all your cares. Well, that didn't work so great. So here's to you, senior tech class. We're so proud of all you're doing. Surpass. May your future be bright and your dreams come true. And may you always have pizza, laughter, and fast red cars too. And a bonus stanza. And when you're out there in the world making your mark, remember your roots and never forget your spark. For you are the senior tech class, the best there is, and your future is limitless. I like the last one the best. So there's one. And we also let's finish do one more, and then we're gonna do some tech trivia. So let's go. What flowers work for a wedding in February? So let's see what those more specific questions that are also somewhat practical. Ooh, it's working on this one. So there it goes. So now it's not just giving you a list, right, of saying here, it's talking to you. There are many beautiful flowers that are in season in February and are perfect for a wedding. Here are a few ideas, so on and so forth. Wow. It's now a conversation, but it even gets better. So now you're looking through this and you're like, that's it. I want orchids. Orchids are it. I love orchids. It's going to be great. I'm getting my daughter orchids for her wedding. Where do I buy them? There's a little Google link. So you can now click on the Google link and find even more information. You could share these results with other people, this prompt and response, and you can create a link to this page, which means I have a link now. I can email that to everybody in our group with this, and they'll get this answer, not the senior class, the flowers answer. So let's say I'll use the church group. Let's say you're in a church group and you're planning an event, a special holiday party. And you go and you ask Bard, you say, okay, it's a church study group, end of the year get together party. We have people that have diabetes and health problems, and we need this kind of food, that kind of food, so on and so forth, and what kind of flowers would look good, what's traditional. And then you can answer that, you get your answers, and then you can email those answers to all your friends so they can review the answers to those questions. Does that make sense? It's sort of advanced. It's sort of cool. It means in the old days, I'll get to you, Robert, and then Irene, and then we're going to do our check trivia. In the old days, I'm at the office, you're all back at work, okay? A weird thing happens this year. On January 2nd, you all have to go back to work at the city. I don't know, something weird happened overnight. You get a letter, you're back at work. And the first thing back at work is I say, Miss Moore, I need a full report on these 20. Pat's laughing, but also like, you're not telling the truth, are you, Elijah? And hi, Jeanette. So let's say Miss Moore, she's my boss. She said, I need an answer on these 5 different things in the scenarios, because the event's going to be there. There's going to be 3,000 cars. So I can go to Google Bard and ask all those questions and then say, I've got answers to all of those and just forward that conversation. That changed 3 hours of work, 5 hours of work, 2 days of work. We got some more questions and we're going to move on to some tech trivia. Irene's iPad.
Hi, Elijah.
Hello, Irene.
So does that kind of go along the lines of maybe like an Alexa or a Siri?
But it's visual on your computer screen. But yes, it does go along the lines of an Alexa and a Siri. You're very close in the feel there.
Okay.
If I ask Alexa and I say, Alexa, what fruits are in season right now to make a salad? And Alexa will say, well, right now it's February. These fruits are in season in North America, blah, 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 blah. This is something visual that you can share.
Okay.
Right,
So that's the difference, is that you're getting visual pictures
You're
and
getting and places you can actually go and with your fingers type in a credit card. Like you can find the place to buy the orchids in advance, so on and so forth.
okay.
Yeah, and it's growing. I mean, every month you change, it'll be different. We have some other hands up. Robert.
What you was talking about just now, you could use your microphone to do that too. You don't really have to type it in, do you? Is that the same thing?
If you can talk to your computer screen, which you can do the same thing. Absolutely. I mean, you can talk. I mean, I find it's not perfect dictation. So like if I'm asking a question, I type it still. I'm still tactile like that, Robert. I'm a typewriter guy still. And so it still feels good for me to write those letters in.
Yeah, you get better results because it'll tell you anything because it don't get your voice translation.
Sometimes it doesn't. It's getting better. It's definitely getting better. All right. Any questions, anybody, before we go into the big grand prize sweepstake?
Now, was that Bard, Elijah, a part of that GPT?
No, here's where it's changing. Let me stop my share. So Chat GPT, for those that are attending the group, by the way, those that have attended the group for the past several years, I'm more loyal to you than the new people. Nothing personal over here, but you'll have to build that up, Robert. But we've just been through a lot. I think about this group. I mean, this group started on site for those that I met on actual lectures over enrollments starting around 2016, several of you. And then the pandemic came along and Stephanie and Crystal led the forces to have us be online. And we had tech lessons when we needed it most, when we were Zoom. And now we've been together every month like this as well. And we also, at the open enrollments, we'll have an extra tech there for those that Israel. So this group has been through a lot of changes over the years. Kids are now 7 years or 8 years old that were born on the day of our first class. You know what I mean? That's I'm proud of us. And thank you for all that. But I want to get to the tech questions. Let's just push our way through. We'll answer more questions, put them in the chat this morning. We'll get to those, but I want to hit these. So let me share my screen. Crystal, we were going to go to midnight, but Crystal, does have a house and a family to get back to. We didn't know. And so we have to do this. So we're going to close Bard and let us go to our tech questions. Where are they? All right. Candy. All right, everybody. Although you might have amazing dental insurance with Lacers, still be careful with the candy. Okay. And we all know about candy, and we all worked at an office. And many of you might remember a machine like this, which was the only meal you had for 14 hours, a few days a week. Now, here's a question. What year was the first vending machine introduced in the United States? It was a vending machine. You can put your answers in the chat. These are for Starbucks cards. Robert, if you find the chat section, how we do this contest is find the chat section and type the year in that you believe the first vending machine was introduced to the US. And this will be for Starbucks gift cards, and you don't have to buy pumpkin spice if you don't want.
1935.
Don't put it out there. You don't want to lose your shot. Put it in the chat. By the way, that's a beautiful candy looking machine, by the way. I would have that in my house as a relic. All right. And we're going once and we're going twice. And bidding is closed. So let's see what we got here. We have, we got a lot of answers. Charlene has a Thomas guide from 1986. Oh, can you get me gas prices from 1986, Charlene? Dale kind of said 47. 47 looks good because it sort of looked like that. 71, 88, 1960, 19, Brenda, 1988. By 1988, I was microwaving.
18. It says 18.
Oh, 1888 is
1888.
actually, I spit that out. If I was using you as the brunt of my joke, Brenda, you might be the winner. There's a 1988, 1936 feels like that. 61 feels like 41, 68 Beverly. By 68, they were putting hot coffee out of machines. Remember the coffee? You remember the coffee machine in the hot and like, yeah. The answer is, I think we have a couple close winners, but you're not completely there. The answer is 1888. But did anybody look it up? I'm going to go with the honesty. So the first one was a gumball machine. You've all seen gum? Have you all seen Adam's gum? You know that Adam's, it's an old-fashioned kind of chewing gum. They were the first ones. So we have three winners. We have Miss Moore, Susie Benedicto. We got to mark these. And we had another 1888. Brenda Brubaker. So all right, we got three winners. The next one's tougher. Now, everybody, I'm going to do this. I'm going to email everyone my email address. And that's for you, Robert. This is how you can contact us along with our phone number in between classes. You're never alone. But also all you winners, please send me an email. Okay? All you winners, go to Elijah@monsters.com and say, I won, Elijah. And please, I want this gift before 2026. Okay? Next question. You all know me. All right. Here we go. Ooh, for you, if the representatives of California don't know this, my heart will be a little more broken. What year did Disneyland introduce the Haunted Mansion? No Googling.
Right.
What year did,
You should be on so we could see you.
You don't see it? Crystal, do you see my question?
No, we see it. I was just telling people who's doing the thing, but I said the camera might need to be on so we can.
I have special AI. We'll know if you Googled it, and then you owe us a gift card.
Yeah.
Okay, Disneyland question going once, going twice, and we are done with bidding. So the answer is August 9th, 1960.
Oh, wow.
What?
And they say it's never really been close. So what year did we say 69? Do we have any 69ers? Susie Benedicto is going to get Starbucks. She's going to get like a cheese sandwich. She's won so much. We have everybody.
And then Brenda did one again.
Oh my God, Brenda! I'm going to have to take you to
It
Sizzler
should
for
be
dinner
one
this
time
day.
they went and
Yeah, I might have to start Googling like everybody else.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, the next we have one more, so we have a lot of winners. Send me.
Gloria got it.
Good. Gloria's one of my faves. Okay, you ready for the last one, everybody?
Yeah.
Together. Rub those hands. Rathna, I want to see some of my winners. Sally, Miss Moore. Well, you're already a winner. Belinda, Gloria, Gladys, Peggy Buck, Ellen W. All right, here we go.
Elijah, can you repeat the question about Disneyland again?
It was, what year did Disneyland introduce the Haunted Mansion?
Haunted Mansion, okay.
And it was in the Summer of Love, 1969. That's true. 1969 was the Summer of Love. We could use that again. All right, last question.
I was born.
Who said that?
Me, Crystal.
Crystal, oh my God, there's a baby in the house. I'm 64.
Right?
Okay, are we ready? Okay, this is a good one. I'm gonna give a little hint. It's Halloween. A lot of candy is sold. American manufacturers are selling a lot of candy. By the way, I looked up the #1 selling candy, but it was too easy. It's Reese's. I just thought I'd get a million people that would know that. So instead I went with this number. And by the way, we did this last year, if anyone goes far back. So how much candy is sold on Halloween in the US? And you could use a number, and it's not in the metric system. You could use a number.
When you say how much, it's like pounds or,
It's going to be in a certain weight. It could be
okay.
pounds, it could be tons, it could be any
Wait
measurement.
a minute, are you showing the answer?
Did I
Yeah.
just show the answer by mistake?
Yes.
Yeah,
Who looked? Who looked?
I did.
Don't
That's
answer
fine.
it then. If you looked, don't answer it.
We all looked at it. We all saw it.
All right, I got another question then. The answer then is, oh my God, I gave that one away. That's how much I want you all to win. Let me look here. The
What's
answer
the
would be, by the
answer?
way, 600 million pounds. That's 24
Okay.
pounds of candy per American per year. All right, hold on. I got one more question, and then we're going to go to our announcements. All right, hold on. I got a bunch of them here. You're not the only people I'm trying to trick in the world. All right, here we go. No, that wasn't right. 2 more seconds. Tech trivia. Okay.
That's a lot of candy.
It's a lot of candy. Oh, okay. Okay. We did this, but I don't think anybody got this. All right, here we go. It is at the time of year. Are you ready? Since I ruined it, we're going to give you an extra hard one. We are in the season of giving. We're getting there anyway. What was the year the gift card was first offered? And the hint is it was a department store. So what year could you go to one? I'm not going to name them, but there were department stores, and everybody's from a Montgomery Ward to a local one, to Woolworths. What year could you go in there and buy a gift card? Not your classic layaway or your gift certificate. And the answer, and for an extra bonus, what store was it? Going once, going twice, and bidding has closed. All right, so we got, I think I see a winner in there. All right, Crystal, I'm giving the answer away because it's over. All right. Neiman Marcus introduced the first gift card using the payment infrastructure, which means you could use the Neiman Marcus credit card in 1982. 1982. Wow. Who got 1982?
Okay, well, Ellen has Neiman Marcus. I don't
think that works. Alan, send me an email. And Marietta Okamoto has it. I'll accept those.
Elisa has it. And
no, that's it.
I think there's someone else.
Let's see, Marietta. I see Ellen W. Elisa, yup. So everybody, did you see my email? Elijah@momscomputer.com. Please send me an email. This way, it'll be easier for me to respond to you with your gift card. It'll be a $5 Starbucks gift card, but it gets you mostly way there to a grande. Okay, and let me put
Elijah,
yeah.
What about inflation? Shouldn't the cards be $10 now?
Crystal, can we renegotiate? You know, Crystal said that Lace just bought my phone.
Hateful is a winner.
Last month he did.
Hateful is the winner.
I'm going to return my phone, but whoever said that, who said the inflation?
Everybody's negotiating contract right now.
Last month you did say $10, Elijah. Last month.
I know. There's inflation.
$10.
Who said? But
Oh,
who
you
said
could
the
just,
line about
just
inflation?
give everybody one and forget about it since it's double.
Who said that line about inflation?
I did.
Who's I?
Charlene.
Who's me? Who said it?
Charlene.
Charlene, you're coming to work at Mom's Computer starting Monday morning. I need somebody to stick around.
Look, you gotta send me the airline ticket, round trip airline ticket.
Where are you located?
North Carolina.
And you only fly business class, right? Everybody, let's give Crystal, Stephanie, and the Lace a round of applause. for putting this on. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. You're funny, it's heartfelt, and we laugh, and we know the world is what it is right now. And we were able to escape it for an hour and a half together. So I give this to you, Crystal.
Yeah, Susie asked for your email again. Is it in the chat?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
All right, if you haven't done so, and Robert, this is for you. Robert got a little feedback. That's how come Robert probably was wondering who kept muting him. That was me muting you, Robert, because you have feedback.
Right.
But please register for the next Mom's Computer class that will be on November the 8th at 2 p.m. We have our virtual fitness class via Zoom with Sean Forty on October the 18th at 9:30 a.m. We also have our open enrollment. These are virtual open enrollment meetings. The Anthem Blue Cross will be October 18th at 10 a.m. Now, this is the thing, because Charlene called me, we had a discussion. The fitness class is going to be recorded, and the open enrollment meeting will be recorded as well. Charlene said she did not want to miss that fitness class, but you can, if you want, if you attend the fitness class, you can watch the open enrollment later or vice versa. Everything is being recorded. We have the Kaiser meeting on October the 19th, United Healthcare and Scan, October the 25th, and we have our Anthem Blue Cross benefit webinars. They're going to be talking about the benefits beyond Medicare on October the 25th. And we have a brain health class discussing Alzheimer's and different things like that on October the 25th at 2 p.m. And Robert, we actually use, well, for the wellness classes, we actually use the same Zoom information.
Okay.
And we have our Delta Dental, that's going to be on the 26th, and another Blue Cross on the 31st. Now, our in-person open enrollment events will be not at the California Endowment Center, but will be the first one in LA will be at the Almonson Court. Some of you were there with us last week, our Aging Mastery graduates. Pat Viles was there, Elise Torres, Belinda Hill came all the way in from Tennessee. She was at the AMP reunion. Beverly Clark was there. Who else? Mike Chen. A lot of you that's here today was at the Almonson Court last week. We're going to have our first open enrollment event there. We're already at 156 people registered for that. We have it at 2:20. We're going to be in a much larger room at Almost a Court. Breakfast will be provided. Please register for that if you can attend. Then we will be having one at the Airtel Hotel in the Valley. And then the DoubleTree, for those Inland Empire people, Rhonda, that's us. The DoubleTree Hotel in Ontario will be the next.
Okay.
But that will be in November. Let me see. Let me get my. Well, let me get my November calendar right quick. Okay, so the one at Almonson Court is November the 2nd. DoubleTree in Ontario is going to be November the 7th. And then the one in Van Nuys at the Airtel Hotel is going to be November the 9th. Those are 3 in-person open enrollment events. Go ahead, Irene. I see your hand.
Hi, Crystal. My question is, if we don't have any changes to any of our coverages, is the open enrollment, is that just for like newcomers, or is there changes to the coverages, or what do you recommend if I have no changes required?
If you have no changes, you don't necessarily have to attend, but there may be some differences in co-pays and benefits. So that's why you come. If you don't want to change, you may want to come to see, like, okay, is the copay increasing or decreasing? Are there any benefits changes? The ones in person, like I said, we provide you with breakfast and everything. The carriers will be there if you have specific questions. for the carriers. There'll be giveaways, there'll be prizes, all of that stuff will be taking place. So it's good to, get out and socialize. So, but like I
Okay,
said,
so
if you
it's
don't want
like
to go in
trainings or
person,
updates.
yeah, if you don't want to go in person, you can watch it on the virtual ones here in October as well.
Okay.
Okay, Robert, I see your hand. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Okay, I was saying that's the same reason they mute me on the family Zoom meetings, because I don't know, I got feedback. I might have the football game on or something. So I'm learning.
You talk too much.
And I talk too much on top of it.
It seemed like every time you said something, Robert, I mean, it was feedback, and I was pushing the little mute button, and then you would unmute yourself, and I would push it again. I was going back and forth muting you.
Okay.
Me.
Okay, well, see,
Robert.
Tell him mute you every meeting.
I see the little yellow line around the box, and that's what they had to do, because if you that's the only ones that can talk. And I thought my oldest brother was punishing me because he wanted to be the boss, but we give him the gavel anyway. He's gonna be the boss.
Yeah, because you have someone in your background talking too. So
That too. That's the noise you're getting in the background. But that's my second.
The questions. We got to get Crystal home. That's our goal now, is to get Crystal in her car back to her house safely. So I see Betty, Miss Moore.
Quarter to 7. I haven't had dinner.
There we go.
They're back east. So Angeline, I see your hand, and then Betty, I see your hand also. Go ahead.
I just wanted to confirm to make sure I understood it properly. The open enrollment is only if you want to make changes to your plan, your medical plan.
If you want to make changes, or just Angeline, to see if there's any changes to your plan, to see what some of the benefits are, if there's something new for 2024, any increases in copays or deductions. It's good to see what's going on.
Okay, and didn't we say before that a book would come out to us?
Yeah, I believe if you're over 65, Stephanie,
Yeah.
right? I think, yeah, if they're over 65.
Okay, thank you.
That is correct. The only ones that aren't getting a book are the under 65. You'd have to request a book.
Thank you both.
Okay, Betty, go ahead, and then Naomi, I see you.
Okay, I just want to recognize the new members in the class, if this is the first time participating in a Lacer's Well event.
Yeah, it was Robert. Robert is the new guy.
Robert, hi Robert. And I believe Jan. How about Jan?
Jan from London.
Jan.
Robert, welcome, Robert, and Jan from London. This is amazing. You're all here.
I love that.
Say hi to the king for me.
I'm with Stephanie. It shows the group is growing. We had like 40 people hanging out. Robert, your questions were amazing. Jan, your questions were amazing. I still like the people that have been coming here 7 years better, but we'll get there over time. In 7 years, you'll be my favorites. And but you're welcome, and you have a tech coverage between classes. If you have one more question, I definitely want to get.
Yeah, Jan asked in the chat also, you will need to call in and request a book if you want a hard copy.
Naomi, unmute yourself.
Hi, I just wanted to know, this new Anthem Medicare supplement plan, is that different from the Anthem Advantage plan currently?
Yes, that it is going to be different. If my understanding is correctly, it's going to be a difference in the way the payments and things are processed. See, this is why you would attend that open enrollment, either virtually or in person, because
So Naomi, you're probably referring to us bringing the Medicare supplement plan back. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah. Yeah, I can't see that, but that's probably what you're referring. That's probably what you're referring to. Yeah, it works differently than the Medicare Advantage. So if you've never had a Medicare supplement, those that have had the Medicare supplement, they probably are familiar with it. But if you've never had a Medicare supplement plan, you probably want to listen in on one of the virtual meetings or come to the in-person.
So both are being offered?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, that's all I have. Let
All
me
right,
see-
folks.
Stop recording.